in order to raise your frequency, to be with yourself, to be comfortable with yourself, right? We raise our frequency in order to get into alignment with ourselves, right? And in raising that frequency, you have to learn yourself, right? And in that, you have to learn how to be alone. You're never truly alone, but you have to learn how to be by yourself, because you have to hone into your own energy, right? And when you're sensitive to energies, right? When you shift your focus to wanting to learn your energy, wanting to be more in your energy, you can't have a bunch of other energies around you, right? You have to be able to differentiate between your energy and others' energies. But in order to do that, you have to know your energy. In order to do that, you have to learn how to be by yourself. And it's okay to be by yourself because you're never alone. You know what I'm saying? You're part of the oneness, right? So when you tap into energy, you realize there ain't no privacy. You're tapped into energy. You're tapped into everybody and everything and the all, right? So you're really never alone. There's really nothing that you're missing out on. But being alone gets rid of the distractions, right? Being alone takes away the energies around you, physically around you, that are not on your frequency. And you don't necessarily have to do it all the time. Sometimes you're prompted to do it, right? There are different lessons that we learn throughout this journey, right? The journey back to self. But sometimes you don't have to do it. Sometimes it's done for you. A lot of times it's done for you. And you're like, people start kind of dropping out of your life. You know what I'm saying? Energy start dropping out of your life. And then some you have to fight to get out of your life. And when I say fight, it's usually fighting yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's usually fighting yourself to think in a different fashion and really determine what is good for your energy, who is good for your energy, to be in your energy at this time, And again, this goes against a lot of the teachings that we were taught and we were told, but it's true. You have to understand life from your perspective, right? You have to listen to the voice of God that is speaking to you and solely you, you know what I'm saying? Because God is speaking to everybody, but you have to be able to pay attention and listen and hone in. And in order to do that, you're going to have to allow God, the universe, whatever that oneness, it's the same thing, same energy, to shift so that you can be able to listen, you know what I'm saying, to spirit in all its forms and your angels and ancestors, your spirit guides, God and those energies that are trying to shift you in the right direction, A lot of times we use people in our relationship to different people as a crutch to, make ourselves feel a certain way. And when this is stripped of you, you have to rely on your own self and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about things and how you're interpreting things and how you're seeing different things. You know what I'm saying? So God is going to shift things in your life so that you see what God wants you to see and you understand from your point of view, from the point of view between you and God, right? From your intuition. That's what that is. That's what that point of view is between you and God, between you and the universe, between you and your spirit guides. All of that is intuition, right? Your gut feeling, and you're learning how to trust that, how to trust you, how to trust your energy, And a lot of times when we're in group settings, even sometimes when it's when it's two, you know what I'm saying? When we're in group settings, we follow rather than trusting our inner selves, And it doesn't mean that everybody, like that you just reject everybody. That's not it, right? When two or more people come together, that's still where church is, right? You still commune with people. You still receiving messages through people. You're still around people. Well, not always, but there's still that connection there, right? That connection can never be severed because we are one, right? But sometimes those physical relationships have to be severed or for a specific time being, you know what I'm saying? So that you can grow. At specific times, it's necessary that you feel lonely. That's like the first stage, right? You start feeling lonely. Then you start tapping into your own energy because that's the only way to go. If you're the only one around, if all those people fall out your life, that's the only way to go, right? You start tapping into your own energy. Then you become okay with being alone, because you're never lonely, right? Because you learn that you're tapped into everything. So there is no loneliness, right? But you're alone, right? And that aloneness starts feeling good, So you have to kind of push past that point where it feels uncomfortable to be alone, where it feels like loneliness at first, because that's not the purpose. That's not the point. The point is to hear clearly, right? The point is to be comfortable with your own self, right? The point is to find your own truth, your own happiness, your own contentment without anything attached to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth of who you are. Your essence is that contentment. Your essence is that joy. Your essence is that ease in life, regardless of what is going on in your life. So when those relationships and when those situations start falling away that was keeping you kind of distracted in the first place, you still have that contentment. You still have that joy. You still have that happiness, right? Because God is showing you it's always been you, right? It's never been those things. It's never been those people. It's always been you, And you can choose to feel that whenever. That's where your peace is. That's where that stillness is. It's in you, And you can choose to feel that regardless of any circumstance, right? And when you have that peace within you, you're able to, when those people start coming back in your life, when your situations start coming back in your life, you're able to discern what's for you and what's not for you. And you're able to detach quickly from the things that are not for you because you're not using those things to fill a void. Because through your aloneness, you realize there are no voids, You realize your peace is right with you and has always been here with you the whole time. And when you have that type of stability, because of practice, because of that practice of being alone, you have that stability of your own peace, your own inner peace. You're rooted. You're rooted, right? Just like a tree, right? You're rooted. All the seasons may come, right? The wind may blow. Any situation can come your way, and you'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? And you'll know how to handle it, and you'll bounce back quickly, and you'll still be at peace, you know? Because you've practiced these things. You've practiced leaning on you, only on you and God. You know what I'm saying? So with that practice, it's like working a muscle. You know what I'm saying? And that piece is your muscle. Your balance, your core is your muscle. Like, it's kind of like if you grow in a plant and you're trying to strengthen the stem of a plant, right? What do, right? You blow wind on it, right? You leave it unstable, and then you blow the wind on it so that that stem becomes stronger. You know, that's kind of like what happens to you. Like as you're going through it, you feel kind of unstable, and all this shit starts happening, and you feel like it's shit, but you realize it's the best thing that could ever happen to you because it's making you stronger. It's that wind blowing so that your stem, so that your root, right? So that your foundation gets stronger, right? And if your foundation is strong, nothing can shake you, nothing can scare you, right? And not only that, it's not only getting free from fear, but it's also allowing you to be lighter, allowing you to be in that higher frequency, because you know how to discern between the high frequency and the low frequency, low vibey things that are not for you, and you know how to take those out of your life. So you stay at a higher vibration. You stay kind of the observer of the situation, right? You kind of zoom out of the situation. You see the larger picture, you know. You stay in that energy where you see the larger picture, and you live from that. You don't just stay there. You kind of live from that. Sometimes you get sucked into the story, but you always realize when it's happening, right? Because you know when it's happening, because it's like you start feeling the effects of it, you know, and then you know quickly how to pull yourself out. Like, it doesn't have the same effect that it had on you when you was really going through it, right? Because you realize this is not your situation to be going through, right? And a lot of times, energetically sensitive people, before they realize what that sensitivity is, right, were not really suffering through their own energy. They were suffering through other people's bullshit, right? And shit other people put on them as well. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that it doesn't happen now, but it's like when you start to know, when you start to understand what it is, then you realize you can get it out of your life. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't get it out of your life, you know how to discern between your energy and another's energy. So you can choose, right? You're choosing the higher energy, you're choosing the higher vibe, because you realize if this might be in my energy, but that's not even my energy. So once you start blocking off those energies, then you understand, then you can really dwell anywhere, you know? And it doesn't have the same effect on you. But before you know, and you're just an energetically sensitive person, you take on everything. You're like, damn, I can feel everything. You feel, and the emotions just go crazy, up and down, in and out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But once you realize, once you take that time to go through that journey, go to hell and back, right? and you realize that most of the time it's not even your shit. Like, it's not even your shit to hold. And so you don't hold it, you know? But the starting point, the basis for that is you can't care about what other people think. And because other people are going through the same thing as you, right? So this is not an insensitive thing. This is something that is necessary, right? Nobody has the answers. You have the answers, right? Everybody has their own answers. So you caring what other people think is you're just bringing more chaos into your life, right? Because that doesn't really have relevance in your life unless you want it to have relevance, unless you make it have relevance. And when you start caring about what other people think, that's what you're doing. You're making something that has no relevance in your life have relevance in your life, right? How they feel about you is not your business, basically, you know? And I mean everybody. It ain't your business, right? And it's not just good or bad. It's like how they feel about you is really not your business, because even if, you know, if people have high opinions of you or whatever, it's like you can't hold on to that. Like, all good beautiful thoughts that people have of each other, that's love right there, and that's good. But that should not sway your idea of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's love is always beautiful, right? And that always means something. It doesn't not mean anything, right? But it should not have an effect on how you feel about you, right? Because this person feels good about you, because their opinion of you can change at any moment, and your opinion of yourself should not be dependent on somebody else's opinion of you, you know, good or bad, in or out, ugly or pretty, you know what I'm saying? So what you're really trying to do is keeping that balance of love, you know, unconditional love with everybody, right? You love them regardless of how they feel about you. And loving somebody regardless is just accepting them regardless of how they feel about you. Accepting who they are and where they are in their journey, you know? That's what love is. Acceptance. You know what I'm saying? It is not sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice your life for another person and how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Because just like you, they are being guided by God. God got them, you know? You don't have to be, you're not their savior. You know what I'm saying? God is their savior. So you have faith that they'll be okay, just like you'll be okay, you know? Just like you have faith that God is guiding you, you got to have faith that God is guiding them. And you got to let go of those that need to be so sacrificial and thinking that it's love, because it's not. What you're doing is sacrificing yourself, but you're important. Like that doesn't make sense, you know? Love does not require sacrifice. So in that sense, when these relationships get to that point of where it feels like sacrifice and where it is sacrifice, right, of your peace of mind, of your time, of your energy, right, of your good energy, then you got to let it go. You have to learn to detach, you know. And as hard as it may be, you got to keep that faith that they'll be okay, without you. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all are going in different directions on your journey, and that's just the gist of it, you know. And you let them go in love. They may feel, oh, you're pretentious or you're cold-hearted or this and that. Again, it doesn't matter how they feel. You know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? You know what you're doing and where your actions are coming from, and that's all you have to know. And that's all you have to keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? Let them go through their journey and how they feel on their journey. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with you. That's none of your business. What is your business is maintaining your peace and maintaining your frequency, right? And extending that frequency and that peace and that love. And those people that are not willing to see you do that or want to bring you down or cannot hold that energy for themselves and therefore bring you into their low vibrational energy, you got to detach, you know? Those ones are not for your journey, you know, unless they're willing to take that journey with you. And you'll know by how God keeps them in your life, you know what I'm saying? By how you feel, how you need to navigate that relationship, you know. But you have to tune in and you have to listen to God. And you know, you might feel the opposite. You might feel you want this person in your life, that it is. You had them, they was there from a long time ago and this and that. It's like, but what is God saying to you, you know? What direction are you being pushed? And you have to listen to that. When you don't listen to that, that's when you do your own thing, that's when you go down the wrong path, you know. And when you start moving differently, sometimes, you know, you pick up bad habits from people, you know, and you start moving in a way that you know is not right for you, and you realize at some point, you know, you shouldn't have took. It doesn't matter, you know, whether you took that, whether you made that decision that wasn't the best for you at that time. You always have you always can make the right decision for you where you're at. You know what I'm saying? So you don't come down and be hard on yourself. Oh, I fucked up this and that. No, it's fine, But make the right decision for you from that point on, from the point that you know on, you know. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying, if you're one to choose that journey of that self-discovery, of wanting that type of peace, you know what I'm saying? You have to be okay with things falling apart, you know what I'm saying, before they falling apart in a way that you perceive them falling apart. But all of these things falling apart is for your greatest good, you know? It's not actually falling apart, you know? It's God reorganizing your life so that you're more in alignment with who you truly are, right? Because you don't need all these things, you know? You're pure energy. You know, so if you get back to a place of pure energy, things are going to have to lighten up. You have to know what is important. And these things are not important. And a lot of these situations we in are not important. But what is important is the eternal self, right? What is important is love. So all these things that are not of love, that are not of the eternal self, and even things that you felt that you need for stability, sometimes are taken away from you. And it's not to punish you. It's to show you that your reliance on God is the biggest thing, right? If God strips you and has you rely on him, you know that's the biggest thing. Just like Job in the Bible. Job had everything, right? But then his life got stripped. Why? It wasn't a punishment, and it wasn't just to show the devil, you know what I'm saying? But it was to show Job that his reliance on, you know, to stay, that he's relying on God and solely on God, right? And once he saw that, he was restored everything. But I think we talk a lot about him being restored, you know, all those things back. But it was really about the stripping and really about knowing that our reliance is strictly on God, you know, and that we're safe there. You know what I'm saying? No matter what happens, we're safe there. And we can live in peace and we can live in faith. You know, we can rest in peace, right? Rest in peace in life, you know. So if you're the type of person that relied on a lot of other people's advice in the past, you can't do that. You know, the purpose is for you to hear God and rely on God through you. You know what I'm saying? You are that conduit. You have to learn how to trust yourself. And that advice from those others that you relied on before is not going to be there. Or it may be there and it might not be the right information for you because y'all are not even in the same reality. You know what I'm saying? Some weird shit may start happening. And if you're really on that journey, it will start happening. Some stuff that you thought couldn't even happen in this world. You know what I'm saying? It's going to start happening. And you're going to start seeing it. And nobody going to understand what the hell is going on, you know? And that's when you start relying on you and God. You know what I'm saying? There ain't going to be no other authority around to guide you through this, right? And that's how you realize everybody's equal, you know? Is your reality, is your choice, right? So you got to choose what's right for you. And you have to trust you through that. And you have to trust you by trusting God. Like, really don't just make decisions based on, you know, what you've seen out in the street or what you've known from your past or what somebody else has told you. You really got to, if you have blind faith, you have to have that faith, hold that love, hold that trust, and feel your way through. You feel your way through. And you can't have, and sometimes, you know, a lot of the time, most of the time, the people that you thought you could rely on is being used on the other side, right? So to lead you astray. You know what I'm saying? It's being used for that reason. And you don't have to see, these people can be acting as enemies, right? Because they're caught up in lower energetic forces, right? But you don't have to see them as your enemies. But you cannot see them as the source of guidance that you may have once saw them as, you know? But that's kind of beyond the point. The point is that your faith gets strengthened. You know what I'm saying? You start to believe and know, right? And know from yourself, from the experiences that are happening, right? That your faith is working, that your faith in God, that you clinging to God and you feeling your way is working for you. You know what I'm saying? All of these things are working for your good. It's a muscle. You're working a muscle. So when you in a state of peace and somebody's hating on you, like, I don't know, like she not even all that, and she living like talking shit. And when you're sensitive to energies, and you've been in this for a while, and you've been, you know when people talking shit, and it just don't matter. Like, you feel energies, even if they wasn't talking to it in front of your face, and then you come into contact with them and you kind of feel it, but it's okay, because they just simply don't understand the process, right? And people are gonna feel like you don't deserve this peace, or you don't deserve to be in the state that you're in, because maybe your life doesn't look like something that they normally view as success, but you know you're a success, right? You know that where your peace comes from, and you know that it doesn't have to do with all these worldly things, you know what I'm saying? And you know you're worthy of it because you've earned it, you know what I'm saying? You've been through the struggle, you've clung to what is true and what is right. Through all those things that were wrong, you could have chose something, you could have chose a different path, you could have chosen an easier path, but that easier path wouldn't have led you to the truth, you know what I'm saying? To living in your truth, you know? But living in that truth is like, it's everything, and it brings you a sense of peace that's beyond understanding, you know, and a lot of people don't understand it, and it's okay, you know, and that hateration is okay, and you don't even say, oh, hateration with an attitude. It doesn't even require an attitude, because it's like, at some point, those people will get to that understanding, but if they're not in that understanding now, it's okay, you know. They simply have not chosen the journey, or they're on a different stage in their journey, right? So it's different. Everybody's on the journey, but you have to consciously choose to be conscious, be in a conscious state of attaining your own peace. You know what I'm saying? You have to say to you and God, okay, I'm on this, you know, and really follow it, and really make those decisions, those hard decisions that you would probably have never made. Those hard decisions to really understand who you truly are. It's like swimming upstream, you know what I'm saying? And because it's opposite of what this world is telling you, you know? Your truth and your peace and the love that you are is inherent. And the world is telling you that it needs to be earned, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't need to be earned. What you're doing by earning this peace, right? You're looking at life from a different perspective. You're learning how to look at life through a different perspective. And that learning process is difficult. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by I've earned it, you know, because I'm going through that learning process, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of other people are too. Other people are too, you know what I'm saying? But the majority is and you know, are not in this opposite of what this life is showing us. The things that they say that we need to earn have nothing to do with who you truly are, you know, have nothing to do with your peace, have nothing to do with your understanding and your contentment. But it tells you it does, you know what I'm saying? It tells you if you get this amount of money, then you'll be at peace. It tells you if you get this car, if you get this house, then you'll be at peace. And I'm not saying don't go for those things. I'm saying don't go for the fool's gold. Don't think those things, that celebrity, that house, that car, that anything, those things, that recognition is going to sustain you, because it will not. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth. You're probably a person who has those things, or who has once had those things and felt less of themselves when they didn't have those things. But then you got those things, you got used to it. You know what I'm saying? And you realize it doesn't add the value that you think it adds to your life. You know? And there's nothing wrong with those things, but I'm saying your worthiness is inherent. And in order to feel that worthiness, it doesn't come from attaining these things. In order to feel that worthiness, it comes from taking that journey back to yourself. It comes from looking at yourself from a perspective where you understand who you are. But in order to see yourself from that perspective, you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to shake your image, your perspective of life from this 3D point that we've learned all our lives, to unlearn that and learn something totally new.